This is the APX6000 radio. We've been using it for a couple years, so the function should be known to everybody. I will go over them fairly quickly. Power. You're going to get a heads-up display here. Tells you what channel you're on, what talk group you're on. Here we are in TMPD Primary Bank. DA Law 1 is a channel that we are on. And you change channels by using the selector on top to go to through our channel talk group list. If you want to switch zones, you use the zone up or zone down button here. Our primary zone that we're going to be using once DaneCom comes into effect is Law 1. For our primary zone A. Our legacy zone is zone 1, which is right after zone Z. Zone Z is a universal zone that's been programmed into all law enforcement and public safety radios. Home button, press and hold, and that will take you to the primary channel. Primary zone. The emergency button will act as an emergency button when you are on the DaneCom network. If you are on the WISCOM network or a conventional channel, it will be a blank and it will not work. The buttons down here for the arrow buttons will get you information in your scan list, so you can go through. You see the Z, that tells you that's in the scan list. If you want to get rid of this out of the scan list, hit D. Here I want to put TMPD Primary Zone Law 3 in the scan list, and you can see by the Z, I'm hoping you can see by the Z, see it in there, that it's in the scan list. I delete it, and it takes it out. Recall will go through everything that's in the scan list. And then you just do the home button to get out of that. This is obviously where your mic attaches to the radio. The button on top turns the light on and off. Second, this is a top button on the side here is a programmable button. So if you want that button to take you to Legacy Zone Channel 5, push and hold, you hear the beep, and now when you push it, it'll take you to that channel, that talk group. And this is just a squelch. That is the basics of the APX6000 radio. So we've talked about how the radio works and the functions of the buttons on the radio. Now I want to talk a little bit about the channels, the talk groups. Channels and talk groups mean the same thing. You'll see on the display that a talk group will have, for example, DA Law 1. DA means that that particular talk group is on the DaneCom network. You might also see a little WI, DA Law 1. That means that particular talk group is on the WISCOM network and is simulcast, if you will, on Law 1. That would be used in an instance where we're in a particular zone location where DaneCom doesn't have coverage, but there's coverage for WISCOM. So we could switch over to that and talk with dispatch on the WISCOM network. You'll also notice that in a lot of the zones, not all of them, but a lot of the zones, the top 4 and bottom 4 talk groups are the same. So for example, the top 4 would be DA Law 1, Law 2, which is a simulated talk around, Law 3, and Law 4, which is a simulated talk around. What I mean by simulated talk around is it's not an actual talk around channel, but it is going to be used as a simulated talk around channel. And the bottom four in most of the groups are the DA LTAC 13, 14, and 15. And those will be used in tactical situations if we're going to a separate channel to have it deal with an incident that's going on. We will use one of those, whichever the dispatcher assigns to us. And finally, in channel 16 is VCall 10. VCall 10 is what we call a conventional channel. So it's not on the WISCOM network and it's not on the DA network, but it's a conventional channel similar to what we're using now. And if you can't reach dispatch at all, or if the network goes down, you flip your dial all the way over to channel 16 and you will be able to reach dispatch. That's a oh crap kind of situation where you're going to need to get a hold of a dispatcher and they are monitoring that particular talk group. Our primary talk group is going to be Zone A. Top four and bottom four we've already talked about, so it's the middle 8 that changes. Channel 5 will be our data channel, and then I have WISCOM DA Law 1 on the Zone A in case we need to use that particular channel. And then DA Town of Madison All is going to be our primary local channel that we will use to communicate between each other as well as with Public Works and Fire Department. We then have DA TMPD. This is a talk group that's specific for the police department, and this is a talk group that we will use if we are doing a seatbelt enforcement and using a lot of radio time, or a speed enforcement, and we will go to this particular talk group so as not to overburden the radio with Public Works and Fire where they can't use it. Fitchburg PD1 will be the Fitchburg primary channel that they will be using. And I've also placed in there MPD channel 1 and MPD channel 3. I know we have the 800 radios in our squad cars, but I wanted to be able to have these two channels in our portables as well if we need to talk with the city when we're outside of our squad cars. And then CAPMAR, which obviously everybody knows what CAPMAR is. So I have that as our channel 12. Popping up on the screen now, you should see Zone A through Zone N and O through X. You can just take a look, know where these are. Everybody will have a laminated sheet with all of our zones and channels or talk groups in there. I have not talked about Zone Z, which is right next to the Zone A, and this is a zone that all public safety personnel will have in their radios. So our fire and our EMS will have a Zone Z that looks very similar to our Zone Z if there needs to be communication between entities like that. You'll also notice that just before Zone Z is Zone 1. That's our legacy zone. That's what we're going to use until DaneCom comes on board, anticipated on November 1st of 2016. Finally, I anticipate officers providing suggestions as you use this on the street once DaneCom comes live. You would prefer one of the talk groups out of Zone A and a different talk group in there. I will be budgeting to do reprogramming for our radios next year, at least once, if not twice, with the anticipation of having a learning curve as we go through with the new radios. Thanks for watching, and be safe.